All right, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if you can hear me or not. Hopefully, you can. Real quick, we're going to go ahead and take a look at what they missed in the Summer Wells case. And it was there, I do believe, the whole time in the truck with the photo. So let's take a look at it. Maybe someone else can point out what is very fishy about this photo to me. All right, as you can see, she's propped up against the milk, right? But what what is right in front of your face? Does anyone see what's going on here? Now, either they knew that she was deceased and they didn't want to see it, and that would be, does anyone notice the hood on her shirt is what spun all the way around to the front of her face, almost to the side of her face. And why is that? Can anybody answer that out there in the world? No, I can give you my opinion, right? Not that it cares. But why would the hood of her jacket be spun all the way around to the side of her face or head? And I can only say that she probably was, if not deceased already, but close to it. Uh, Her lips look like they're turning a little bit color, her fingernails, very still, very pale. The hair color is starting to go. And that happens, with Elvis Presley. Uh, Within an hour of his death, uh, his hair started turning gray already. Right, he lost the color out of his hair, which is shocking because he had dyed hair. He had dyed hair, but the guy that cut his hair uh, and dyed it for him and everything is the same guy that did his you know took care of him before they put him in the casket. And he said the same thing. He had to re-dye the hair, and everything. The hair started losing its color. You know, I have to agree with some of the other people. She does look pretty pale for being outside all the time. Uh, you think she would have had some color in her, but the evidence is right there. The hood is turned all the way to the side, if not to the front of her face. Now, my opinion is probably because they didn't want to look at her. And yeah, this photo probably was taken, but the hood was pulled back down so they can take the photo. Why else would that little girl's hood be, the hood on her shirt be spun all the way to the front? And it kind of makes sense. If someone was saying that, but you know what? That does make sense. If they knew she was deceased or dang near close to it, they probably didn't want to drive around with her. They could see her and everything. That's possible. That's possible. Now, they also showed the soda in the back seat. Now, I don't know how good these guys were, if they checked the vehicle, or if, were they even driving their vehicle or Grandma Candace's vehicle, but I don't know if they got that orange crush that's in the back seat. Now, a lot of people are saying, well, they could have gave her something in that. Well, they could have, but if they didn't collect that, but If that vehicle was gone, if they cleaned the vehicle out or whatever, no, now you got nothing. The only way you would be able to tell is in some kind of a toxicology or something in the body, uh, where there would be a foreign substance and that shouldn't be there, right? So it's pretty crazy because everyone's like, no, 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 but yeah, 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 you know, uh, the hood of her jacket or whatever is spun all the way around to the front. And like I said, that might have been because they might have been spooked and they just didn't want to look at her face like they felt guilty. Maybe it's possible. It's very possible. Now, a lot of people are saying this photo was taken after they got home. Something went bad. I don't know, folks. I don't have all the answers. But it's very possible what they're saying could be true. That they didn't want to look at her face, so they covered her face up with her hood. You know. Now you have Allie that said Hunter's mom that she seen her and she was there like that, and they wouldn't let. But now they're saying Allie lied and she never went up to the truck. Yada yada yada. More lies. So who's telling the truth? Who knows? You know. But does it make sense to me? Probably does. Someone didn't want to look at her, so they pulled her hoodie all the way around to the side, uh, so they can cover their faces. Her face as they were driving. That might be. I don't know. Anything's possible. Anything is possible. Why didn't anybody pick that up? Is my question. No one picked it up. No one noted. Well, it's just her hood. So yeah, her hood is from all the way from the behind her. That's twisted all the way to the. You can see the jacket's kind of twisted a little bit to the side there. Uh, was that to fold over her face so they didn't have to look at her? Well, was she gone? A lot of people are saying she drowned. Well, that very well could have been while she was at the lake. That would explain that they didn't want to look at her because was gone, heartbroken. Maybe I don't know. I don't know. It's just so much crazy stuff, Lord. I can tell you what, we need Jesus down here to figure out all this crime stuff. But it probably seems like that's why. That's got to be very uncomfortable to have your hoodie on your jacket spun all the way around to the front. I mean, it's got to be kind of uncomfortable. How would she? I don't know. I don't know. What is that? Is that the hoodie to her shirt or something else? I don't know. Looks like to me it's part of a hoodie. Yeah, that's just horrible. Now, this all we don't know. There's a lot of people saying that. Is it possible? It's very possible. I can't say it ain't. I can tell you that much. And it might be nothing. But what am I thinking? I'm probably thinking that's it. Somebody didn't want to see or look or whatever. And here's the bottom line: there's nothing they can really do. The timeline is from that lake to their house. Wherever they stopped off is their timeline. A lot of people are saying, well, what's going on? Well, I wouldn't doubt it if they tried to protect the boys because by law, any investigator knows the last people that seen the kid alive are the ones that are going to question or possibly have done something. And who would that have been? Well, Hunter, Candace, Grandis, and the kids. than the kids. Because once she got home, she sent Summer into the house with what? The three boys. Don wasn't home yet, remember? No, if Don was home, then Don would have been one of the last people ever to see her. But they're claiming Don wasn't home that day. And a lot of people are saying he was home because the kids went home or went to work with him. So if Candace got home and the kids were home, then Don Wells probably was home. Or he dropped the kids off and left to go do whatever. Who knows? Very interesting. And I thought this photo was photo op. And that was because I seen the halo around her shoulders there. But that's just glare off of the window, I think. Reflections off of the window. Yeah, pretty crazy. You know, if this was an accident and something happened to her as she was swimming, they would have been better off coming clean and instead of creating this madness. You know, that's if something happened. Even if she was at home and it was an accident, they would have been better off calling 911 and taking the heat for it was an accident. We don't know. If it was an accident, if they would have called 911, would they have been able to save her? They might have, depending on what the injuries were. Depending on what the injuries were. You know, we don't know. They keep pointing out the swing. That was their favorite place, the swing. This is, maybe for someone to walk up there with all them dogs there, no one hear nothing. Candace is in the driveway. None of the kids hear a scream. They don't hear a door open. They don't hear a door close. When the parents go down to look for her, the doors close, and then I think I seen Don and Candace say Summer couldn't even open the back door because it was locked, and uh, there was no way. And when they went down there, the door was closed. You know, don't you think the kids would have heard something? They were right upstairs. Nothing, not a peep, not a scream, nothing. So something fishy. All right, I just wanted to point that out. They got her leaned up against the milk jugs, and for some reason, her jacket is the hood on her jacket is spun all the way around or something. Or I don't know, to the side of her head, to the side of her face. I don't know. You folks leave a comment down what you think down in the comments below. I just recently figured that out as I was watching this video that this photo's from. Uh, no one has talked about that. Why is her hood all the way around like that? I don't know. Very interesting. All right, you folks have a good night. God bless. And one day we'll get to the bottom of this. Have a good day.